Hey, team, it seems to be working again. I do not know what's going on. But I'm here, and it seems to be working on about the 10th time. It is Remembrance Day Eve 2020, the year my eyes went to crap. 2020, do you get it? But this is about a serious moment. This is about a time of reflection. Jessie, I wish you had your girl, Jessie's girl. For those that are watching the first time, I'll get rid of the first iterations that went all foggy and crappy. We've got Ryan Oblis. We're big, as you would say in New Zealand. Country rogue, take me home to the place I belong. Mr. P, back on, Guardian of the Galaxy 2-7, 24/7. We've got Leah, g'day team. And Lauren, who is here and always talks me out of the dangerous precipice. We've got Benny Fisher. Is that fish spelt wrong? Something smells fishy. Ryan Oplis, hands of colour, fugly. He's still at work. He'll catch up later. And Waitsy, hello team. Good to have you here too, Waitsy. We've got Kieran. Good to have you here, mate. The legend himself must be talking about someone else. Unless I'm the legend of the fall of the Brokeback Mountain, which I'm not. But I'd climb it. I'd climb it for the challenge. We've got Aidan Ruth. G'day to your mum. Robbie Kent. Hello, hello. We've got Kahu Murphy, our Kiwi, and we're about to get Lauren back on. We've got Rusty here. Have you just been promoted, Rusty? I hope so. Great to see. Jay Hayes. He's big in Western Australia. A lot of the light horse came from Western Australia. Mr. P, Betty. Good to have you here, Betty. Betty Boo. Mr. P, Jay back again. Lauren. Hi, Betty. Benny Fisher heading off to Kapuka on January the 12th. There is so many. We're going to put a video out there for you, Benny, following the footsteps of the Anzac. We've got Jack Smith, who's just marched out of Pucka as a driver. He's about to did him out of the village with the steering wheel. Favourite song, Jimmy Barnes, Working Class Man. No, Driving Wheels. That's all to come. Guys and gals, we're going to get to this in a moment. But before we start, what I want is this telling photo of a poppy that JC just sent me that I think sums it up all. Best of all, we never know when our time is up. If this is real, this is horrible. Check this out. Bam. If anyone ever questions why a poppy should be red, show them this picture. Right in the centre of the poppy. What are the chances of that? Bam. Off bam. Righto. We'll leave that one up there for a second. We've got a bit of a show for you tonight. We'll put a bit of work into this one. Guys and gals, tomorrow when you go to work, school, okay, or you're around your family, the loved ones, and you feel like it is your opportunity to give a little bit of wisdom, foresight, remembrance to someone that fell. You can always go for someone who has fallen recently, but dig deep. Go back to the Boer War, World War I, the war to end all world wars, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. It doesn't even have to be one Australians are in. There is no economy of enthusiasm that needs to just go back to those that wore the uniform of the Anzac. Because when this was made, on the 11th of 1918, they didn't think there'd be other gunfire after this, but the guns didn't fall silent for long. 20 years later, back again, in the same front lines, against the same enemy for round two. And then subsequently, time and time again. Jordan, g'day mate, how you going? My grandfather was in the Korean War. Fantastic, co. I was just speaking to an Australian today that was in the Korean War, the machine gun sergeant who had the Marines to his left, who abandoned their position and left the Australians by themselves, but only to come back up, back in Samashon and give him a hand at the end. Will Butterfield, and that was Ron. Hey, Kaz guys, very important day coming up. Yep, I'll be remembering my ancestors who fought in the World Wars. Excellent. The Anzac. What I want you to do is remember someone. And if you can't, then I've got some details right here for you. Okay, let's kick it off right away, and then I'll ring Lauren after this one. The first gentleman I'm going to speak about today is Lieutenant Malcolm Chisholm. Do you know who he is? No, you don't. He is the first member of Australia to die in World War I. He'd gone over from the Sydney Grammar School and he went over and joined the military, and he went through Sandhurst, the military academy in UK, fought for them, and he was killed in action. Now, because he was the first one killed, the hatred hadn't really built up. It was the first bloodshed between UK and Germany, the Hun. And so what happened was he was hit by shrapnel, and the next day he said, "Leave me here," and they did. And the Germans ended up burying him where he died. Okay, they sent his sword, his cap badge, his equivalent to Skippy badge, right? Also his wristwatch. They sent it to his mother through the Red Cross, who was in England. So what a beautiful thing. And that was on the 20th of August 1914. And then we've got another name that you can cling on to. Thumbs up if you've got a cricket player down here. Donkey Bong, good to see you here. Now I'm set to serve in the Australian Army. Bam, we have to remember to remember. If we don't, then you'll start to think to yourself, why would I go into something if it means so little on the one day that matters? If we can stop a nation for a race, then we can stop a nation for the 103 to 108,000 that gave their lives with their face to the enemy, falling against the foe, for the ineffectual words of politicians that didn't stop it before the guns began. What about Albert Tibby Cotter? Who's he? Does anyone know? I'll let you know. This is another name you can cling on to. He's the 12th Australian light horse. He was a test cricketer for Australia. He wore the baggy green and he fell at Beersheba, 31st of October, 1917. Those guys were also in this photo here. Okay? And this was riding through Palestine, I believe. Light horse in Israel. It's good for me now. Miss Lauren, g'day all. Simon Powell, good to have you here, mate. Good to have you here. And then we've got another one. I want to go a little bit further back from World War I because Korea is called the Forgotten War. But if we go a little bit further back, we've got the Boer War. It only went for 3 years. We lost a lot of Australians there, about 217, I believe. And we've got Trooper Frank, Uncle Frank Andrews from Wollongong, 1880 to 1900. All right? He died 20 years old. And he was from the New South Wales Imperial Bushmen. And he was killed by a sniper. And I believe he was the first Australian that was actually killed in the Boer War. Right. So there's some names right there. If you've got no one, you can never use an excuse. It's even better if you don't know anyone, because then you're not studying out of guilt. Then you can actually find a name that hasn't been spoken in 100 years and say, that's the guy that I'm going to grip onto. I want to say his name and say it out loud and say it out proud. So people remember that, so people say it, so people go, who is that guy? And ask a question. You go, I'll tell you about that guy. He could have been Australia's next best politician. The brave fall first. He could have been the next policeman, the next Olympian, next sportsman, the next best father, great-grandfather that brought up 77 other people with manners, courtesy, grace. He might have been the droid we're looking for. And I've fallen to those. Okay, the poppies, the red poppy, what does it signify? Okay, it is the flower that rose on Flinders Fields. Okay, and there's a beautiful poem about that. And we've got a video that we're going to do a reaction to in a moment on the story of the poppy. So hang tight, hang in there. We've got some books down here. We're going to look at the coin. Okay, the coin of the fallen, which was created for World War I and then not continued. I don't know why. Sounds like a song. Guys and gals, the purple poppy. Tell me about that one. Can someone let us know right now in comments, the purple poppy, what's it about? I know some of you know. We've got Will Butterfield. I'll be joining the force to preserve the freedom of those brave men fought for all those years ago. And I hope you never actually fire around in anger, mate. Right. And let's hope that if you go, it's for a righteous decision from a political party that was rightfully elected into our country and has your best interest at heart. Every one of you, is a special person to someone. And the government should remember that. And politicians should have children in the forces, dog in the fight. Jordan D. G'day, guys. We've got Canaan Pepper. Simon doing well, just waiting for the stitches to dissolve. Did you have a baby, Canaan? Okay, Panzer wife, my neighbour fought in the Korean War, sadly passed away this year. Maybe it was time to rest. You know, that's a pretty big innings. And then you go back and you think, holy shit, we've got people who are in World War One, not anymore, they're all gone. So any single name that went to World War One is someone worth remembering, aren't they? But all the best to your neighbour, mate. Aidan Ruth, my grandfather worked carrying large spools of communication wires from before the army had radios. My father worked in, they called them linies, worked in a similar role maintaining physical communication lines, vary in groups. Sometimes the casualties amongst them was horrific. We've got Tony the Ram. We need to talk soon. Hope you're bloody well, mate. Tony the Battering Ram. Jordan, Aidan, that's crazy. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We do. Sometimes it takes a day like this to bring it back out of us. Yeah? Jesse Ensby. Sometimes I wonder if the men and women who fell in the world wars knew that they were making history and that we'd dedicate. Well, it happens every time. Every time we go overseas, you never know if you're going to be one of the ones that falls and becomes the fertiliser of the next souls to follow. Julian Pound. Yes, I agree. The Purple Poppy, Donkey Bong. Tell me about it. Here it is, team. I'll give you a bit of a hint. Bam. The Purple Poppy. You'll see it. Sort of gives it away. It is dedicated to the animals that fall for Australia, New Zealand, UK, etc. Right? And we do lose our service animals. I believe they should be paid for the entire time they're in, and there should be a form of payment that they get as a pension when they're actually discharged from service. They're so important for morale, not just for their job function. Survival Man 343, why is there tension with Australia and China? We won't talk about that, mate. We can hardly get through a stream these days without getting knocked down by the algorithm, mate. I can't go into it. How you going, Kaz? Waiting for the call. Mate, we get about 20 calls a day at the moment, bro. Sorry. You know, just send us a message, man. Send us a message, and I respond as the messages come back in. Okay? Tony? It's to remember all military animals. Yep. True. Lee Dog. Lee Dog. Purple Poppy for Lee. Noah's channel. G'day, mate. How you going? Do you have a channel? Do you want to build a snowman? Okay. Kristen and Luca. G'day, mate. How you going? Special service animal repatriation home. I don't know if there'd be enough animals to go in there, but all they need is a loving family that throws a frisbee for them. They'll be happy. Carl P. Kaz, my grandfather was a commando in World War II. Was he Attack Force Z? Landed on the beaches on D-Day. He is 97 and still going strong. I'll go and see him see he for tomorrow. Carl, that's amazing, mate. Don't slap his back too hard. Tony, you're still waiting for that bloody call, mate. I thought we had good news last time you were on the phone with me. I'm sorry, mate. Now you've said his name, Jay, will appear. Brucey M, the badge shows the horseshoe upside down, meaning their luck had run out, sadly. I didn't know that. That's fantastic. See, I'm here to learn. Julian Pound, how can we message you? There's a couple of ways, mate. Okay, you can become Patreon. You go jump over there, get a phone call via the bat phone, right? And that's almost it, other than becoming a member as well. And then you can send one through the members lounge, on comments, and we go through that as well. Otherwise, we get inundated, and a lot of people do a lot to support the channel, and it's not fair to put people before them. Yep. Donkey Bomb. Letter of offer. What else we got here? So we've had Uncle Frank Andrews from Wollongong, who lost his life. We've got Albert, the Test cricketer, Tibby Cotter. We've got Lieutenant Malcolm Chisholm. Just 3 names. I hope tomorrow that you have a name. And remember that when we say the ode, They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. And at the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. We'll have another video coming out tomorrow, but it is important that you just remember to remember. You don't even necessarily have to dress up for a team. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Respect the day, respect the time, and grab one other person and say, mate, stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Let's take a minute out. For people like me, it can be hard to shut up, but I can achieve it. So hopefully you can too. All right, Jordan. I've met several people seriously injured during training, lost legs, etc. Bloody heartbreaking. Their service must be recognised. Yep. And the other one is the black dog. All right. The black dog is one of those things that when you come home, you can be left with scars that can last a lifetime, and they can be invisible scars that make you a version of you that others find hard to love. And there's books about it. I'm about to show you a couple of little artifacts here. Bear with me. This one, not so much. But this is the book on I Was Only 19. Fantastic one. And it's a good way to be able to read to children where you get the message across without it actually being the gory side, the sad side of the military. Just to put that out there for them. We've got this one. This is the coin that was given to everyone, okay, that died in World War I. Okay, there's your Queen's coin. Bam, the penny, the death penny. You had to die to get it. Okay, and then it got sent to your family. Look how big it is. Right? The sad thing is, you can find death pennies like this, authentic ones, on eBay, where people are selling the coins of their dead ancestors for a few bucks. Disgusting. This is a big one. Bam. JP. Don't know if you've ever read this one, mate. Why is Dad so mad? And that's the mother lion talking to the baby lion, telling him why Dad is always so angry. It's about the black dog. It's about invisible wounds. It's about PTSD. Okay, and it explains that your dad still loves you, but he's got stuff going on inside that hurts. Yep. And I recommend that. You can pick that up at almost every bookstore. Ray Mixer, lest we forget, sir. I've seen that, Christian Lucas. Oh my God, I read that in primary school. Beautiful book to have. Lovely illustrations. So simple. So simple. Leah, what age group would you recommend that book to kids? Kaz? My daughter turns 9, I reckon, tomorrow. I reckon she turns 9 tomorrow, but actually it's a couple of hours after the 11th. Prison bars, as I like to call it for her. I would say 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, one day maybe it's when they actually wait for them to ask you, why is Dad being, why is Daddy yelling at me? Okay, sit down. Maybe Mum reads it to him. Maybe Dad reads it to him. Her. But it can make a lot of sense. It's the elephant in the room, and it's the nicest way to say, okay, there's some broken pieces. Humpty can't necessarily go back together again. Amy Brown, g'day, mate. Jordan, hey, Kaz. One of Sir O'Halloran gave me a signed copy of Pure Mask back in 2010. Met him at Lewin Barracks in Freo, gentlemen. He was my platoon sergeant, mate. I've got some writing in that book as well there, Jordo. It's a good book. It's a hard book, but he done a really, really good job with that. That's called Pure Massacre. And that's about the Kabayo Massacre as part of the Rwanda Unimir 2 rotation. Right. Rains Miss Mixer, what role are you in the army? I was in infantry, mate. I was in 343 Australian Infantry. I had 24 years. Never the best on ground. Okay, a couple of times I was best on the ground, but not often. But I was there for the big adventure, for the mateship, and because I was born on Anzac Day, my daughter's born on Remembrance Day. Yep, my dad was in the army before me, and together between me dad and myself, more than 50 years of continual service. So I never had a choice. I grew up as a soldier. But I skipped from signals, where I was going to be corps enlisted, to Op Sigs, which was the highest job in the military, highest paying job in the military. Got to Kapuka and went, you know what, stuff that. I'd rather be running around getting fit. That did nothing for me skinny chicken legs that still get laughed at or licked at by bloody dogs. But other than that, I'm good. Amy Brown, my dad was a cadet during the Falklands War, and I went to respect to their graves. Falklands, that's crazy when you look at where England is and where Argentina is, isn't it? Okay, Exit Wounds is another great book. Major General John Cantwell. Yeah, I agree. Now, I can't read a whole book. I get bloody bored. Hey mate, I'm reading out a poem for Singo at the Remembrance Day service tomorrow. That's from Felix the Cat. Fantastic, mate. That's awesome. I've got a whole bunch of poems here too. You know, I should have read one out for you tonight. Maybe we'll do one tomorrow. We'll see how we go. What I'm going to do now, is I'm going to ring Lauren. Hopefully she'll still answer me after I spat the dummy before. Lauren, Kaz was an infantry sergeant for 24 years. There we go. Panzer. I was only 19, safe behind the wire, and the band played Waltzing Matilda. My daughter knows that song.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, it's crazy. We used to learn that at school, you know, the band sang Waltzing Matilda.
Yeah, my kids learned it from Anzac Days and Remembrance Days.
It's lovely.
Yeah, it is.
We haven't got many viewers tonight, have we? Maybe they're getting their suit ready for tomorrow's Remembrance Day. Huh.
Maybe. I don't know. They might be doing their homework or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is good.
I was wondering if anyone on stream training up for the army in the northern suburbs of Perth. I thought there was only about 20 people over there, MB.
You're so cheeky. There's heaps of us from West Side.
West Side, not cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
Lauren, we're going to put a video on for everyone because not everyone understands the poppy. And rather than me butcher it or bisect it in a way that doesn't do us justice, there is a video I found that I think is beautiful. It's beautiful. And I reckon we play that and we watch it together. It goes for 5 minutes and it is expertly done.
Okay. Sounds like fun.
It's, hey, Albino Nick, how we going, mate? The biggest fan. I wish I had one. It's getting hot here, mate. What are you going to do tomorrow for Remembrance Day? I'll be putting out a video for you. Okay, Lauren and I did a collaboration on one of the tattoos she did, which is absolutely beautiful what she did. You see it come together. Mr. Squiggle 101.
Thank you.
It's a really lovely job you did on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. JJ just made it. Had to go swimming. Very nice, mate.
They're all swimming.
Simon's got to come back. He's got to call his daughter.
Yep.
That's good, mate. You've got to remember the ones that matter most. Well, guys and gals, this is the story of the poppy. Over it.
The Poppy Story. The First World War, or the Great War, started in 1914.
Love that voice.
The British Empire and their allies, France, Russia, Italy, and America, fought a war against Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. Millions of men joined the British armed forces and went to fight in the war. The conditions were terrible, and millions were killed or injured. Those that did return home would never be the same again.
I really love the way she's done this. It's so simple.
One of the largest battles of the war took place around the town of Ypres in the Flanders region of Belgium. While serving in Flanders, a young Canadian soldier called John McCrae noticed how bright red poppies grew wild amid the war-torn landscape. Despite the devastation that surrounded him, he was inspired by the poppies that grew there to write the poem In Flanders Fields. His poem became very popular, and the bright red poppy would soon be adopted as a symbol to remember all those who'd fought in the war. The First World War ended at 11 o'clock in the morning on the 11th of November 1918. This was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The war had lasted over 4 years. The 11th of November every year is called Remembrance Day or Armistice Day.
Memorial
After
Day
the war
for USA.
ended, people started making paper poppies to sell. They sold poppies to raise money to help the millions of sailors, soldiers and airmen who were coming home from the war. These people are called ex-servicemen and women, or veterans. On Remembrance Day, people wear a poppy, and at 11 o'clock in the morning, the same time the war officially ended in 1918, there was a 2-minute silence. This is for people to remember all the veterans who have served their country in a war, not just the First World War. Remembrance Day happens every year around the world. The poppy isn't the same everywhere. Some countries use different designs for their poppy.
I was going to mention the purple
In
poppy.
England, Wales and Northern Ireland, the poppy has 2 petals
Does
and a
everyone
leaf.
do that, or is that just
But in
us?
Scotland, the poppy has
No,
4
I think
petals
it's a
and no
new thing.
leaf.
This is nearly 7 years old, this video.
All the poppies sold in
Yeah, it's a
Scotland
good
are
thing.
made in the Lady Haig's Poppy Factory in Edinburgh. The factory was founded in 1926 by Lady Haig, the wife of Field Marshal Douglas Haig,
Great
who was the
job.
commander of the British Army in France during the First World War. When the factory first opened, all the poppies were handmade by just 2 ex-servicemen with some red paper and a pair of scissors. Today, there are over 40 ex-servicemen with disabilities who work in the factory. These men make 5 million poppies every year for the Scottish Poppy Appeal. They also make more than 10,000 wreaths and tens of thousands of wooden remembrance symbols. These include Christian crosses, Muslim crescents, Sikh khandas, the Jewish Star of David, and a symbol for humanists. All the poppies are still made by hand, although a machine now cuts out the poppy shape. The ex-servicemen make 2 types of poppy: a poppy with a green plastic stem and a stick-on poppy. When all the poppies have been made, they're packaged up with collecting tins for the money, then sent to our volunteers all over Scotland. Every village, town and city in Scotland has volunteers who donate their time for free to sell poppies in their local area.
Great job.
Poppies are sold in lots of places. You can find them in shops, supermarkets, offices, schools, factories, churches and hospitals.
Even if you make a donation, it's a good
Volunteers
way to do
collect the money made
It
from
is.
selling poppies. They also hold fundraising events like jumble sales, cake sales and races to raise even more money. Thanks to their hard work, our volunteers raise millions of pounds from the people of Scotland every year. All the money that's made helps ex-servicemen and women in need after serving in the Navy, Army or Air Force.
it.
We also help their families, their wives, husbands, partners and children. We help with house repairs, wheelchairs and specially adapted vehicles to help them live in their own homes for longer.
What about an Xbox?
We also give money so they can retrain, start their own businesses or grow an existing business.
Better than PlayStation.
And we give
so I
advice,
hear.
information and support to deal with any problems that may be encountered along the way, helping them rebuild their lives.
I'm a dickhead. I thought they were wings.
All this
It was a wheelchair.
from a tiny poppy.
Poppy
Well, they
Scotland.
fly like their wings.
Did you know in Scotland they have these fantastic books? When I was in Scotland, there's a cannon that scares the living shit out of you in Edinburgh too. It goes off the same time every day in the middle of the city. The homeless, it's like the homeless look at the tourists like, watch this guy shit himself. Frickin' kaboom! You know, from the battlements. But on there, they've got books that have got every single person that's ever died for Scotland in it. It just,
Oh, lovely.
it's
That's
amazing.
lovely. Yeah. You know, I saw once there was a live 1812 overture,
Yep.
and when they still used the real cannons, and that was something else. That was amazing.
The porn bots have already started in comments. Guys and gals, when you come here, and you look in comments later, it's crazy. It's like YouTube, RedTube, all that doesn't exist. All these freaks from all these different porn sites come on there and just start putting comments, hoping that some young fella that hasn't got his first tattoo yet is going to go and fall in love online.
Yeah, don't click and don't trust any girl in the comments saying she needs a boyfriend.
Has that happened before?
Yeah, but it was a porn bot.
Oh, damn. I was wondering why she never answered me.
You would have fallen for it.
Nah. I don't need a confusion in my life now. G'day, Mr. Bryce. How you going? Yeah.
There's a great video by the British Legion on how to wear your poppy, because it doesn't actually matter how you wear it. Just wear one. And you can wear one any day of the year too.
Yeah, you can.
And it's really important to try and remember every day if you can.
And for me, it is every day because I've got this channel. So, you know, to some people, it's something that they may do or may not do. And it might even be hard to spend that 1 minute, you know.
Exactly.
From a veteran's perspective, and that's a lot of you are going to be veterans on this chat, the ignorance of the civilian world can be so aggravating when it's like, when you hear such, I don't know,
vitriol even.
yeah, like, why would you want to do that? Oh, that stuff doesn't worry me. You feel like going, wow, imagine if it didn't worry them. You know, it's...
Yeah, I heard someone saying that the BBC people wearing poppies was just virtue signalling, and that made me a little bit upset.
Yeah, it's rubbish. I reckon she looks beautiful, because when you see someone with a red poppy, you go, there's someone who cares for something bigger than himself.
That's what it's respect, you know, and because I was researching for our collaboration why we do it, you know, so that's, you know, in the video, if you're going to put it up tomorrow, as to why Australians, there's 3 reasons why we wear a poppy.
Yep.
And it's really good. I even learnt stuff when I looked into it, so you know, it's worth looking into.
Look, it is lovely, and it tells people you remember, and you pass a level of attitude test when you actually put it on, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I get it. This person has remembered. This person took the time to acquire the poppy and then put it on, maybe dressed up. You know, I got given one a couple of years ago before this. I was only 19, started happening. And I was with my suit and medal standing by myself in Penrith, Bronx. And there was a lovely family there. And, dude, it was hot as the bottom of a wok, you know, and I looked like I was sweating like a guilty sailor, you know, in an army boozer, or at least on a piss trough. And tempted to look down, the sailor, not me, and a guy came over with his kids and said, hey, you haven't got a poppy yet? And I went, no, I haven't, mate. And he's going, look, would you like to stand with us, and we'd like you to have one of ours? And it was really, really beautiful, you know, and it was really nice.
Yeah. And, you know, if you ever go to the War Memorial, you can buy lots of things which have poppies on them. So if you do have trouble remembering, go buy yourself a mug with all the poppies on it, or something else. And just whenever you see a poppy, then it can remind you to just remember whatever day it is. You know, I have a beautiful scarf that I wear on Anzac Day that's full of poppies. It's beautiful.
Hey, JJ, how you going, mate? Wait a sec, here he is.
Seasick cow.
Seasick cow. Any suggestion for a solo Remembrance Day? Something to remember, I was thinking the Naval Museum if it's open. JJ, this is for you first, mate. Because you're the first off the rank. There you go. You get double. Good soup calamari. It's a Kraken! Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy.
Welcome, calamari. Welcome, calamari.
I'll change those up soon and come up with something better. JJ, Remembrance Day can be a beautiful day when you're by yourself because you actually concentrate on what it's about. It can be a painful day when you look around and you see, try not to concentrate on the amount of people that basically don't give a shit, that walk past and look over like, it can't be stuffed when everyone's standing still, because they're the people that wouldn't have enlisted for the big adventure, for the big fight as it was. just go somewhere where you're going to be around like-minded people. Go to a local RSL. Is a great thing to do. You'll be indoors, air conditioned.
Yep. Set your alarm for 5 minutes before the 11th hour.
Yep.
And that way you can just stop when it's time and have your minute silence.
Yeah, and do you know what I do as a submariner, future submariner, mate? There's no reason for you to be alone. Put some pressure on someone that you know, a family member, a friend, and go, mate, tomorrow I'm going to come and grab you. I don't care what you're wearing, and we're going to we're going to shut up for 2 minutes for the Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
You know, sure, you can't have a problem. What boss is going to say, no, we can't release you from that? You'd be like, I beg your pardon? Remembrance Day? Did you not get the memo? The beautiful thing about Remembrance Day is it used to be about Anzacs. It used to be about Australia, New Zealand, the UK, etc. Now you can extend that branch to Germans, to Japanese, to Americans, to Turks, to whoever you want, and go, look, you know, you're all involved as fathers fighting fathers. You know, sons fighting sons. People with so much in common who were told to hate each other for a defined amount of time and then go back to loving each other. Sins of the father, disregard.
Yeah.
Flubber dubber. Hey, Kaz, you reckon you'll ever go on Life on the Line podcast? Look, I'd have no problem with you doing that, mate. I'd have no dramas with doing that. I'd just never think about it.
I've never even heard about it. What is it?
It's a.
I accept.
Thank you very much, there, Flubber. It's a podcast which talks to service soldiers, etc. And similar to like Joe Rogan, you know, there's a whole lot of military podcasts out there now, whether it be Jocko, whether it's Joe Rogan or whatever. Yeah, I'd definitely do that for that Aussie flavour. They look like a pretty good bunch.
Yeah.
It's all about the education of others. People saying, I've had enough listening to some of the bullshit. I want to listen to something a little bit more serious. I can take it.
Yeah, exactly. I can't take politicians on special days seriously on Anzac Day or Remembrance Day. You've got to remember they're just there for the photo op.
Yeah, that's right. JC's off to watch The Block. I can't compete with that.
Have fun. Yes, you can. It's a really crap show.
Yeah, I thought he'd be going to watch the SAS Australia, actually. Or that's just ended. Yeah, this is such a big day for me because this was the day 9 years ago that, and I never thought I was going to end up having kids. I was hoping to get a fake scare from someone years and years ago before I met my daughter's ex that would say, oh, I'm accidentally pregnant. I'd go, yeah, I'll keep it. I'll have another 2 and become a group commander. But when I found out that I was going to have my daughter, it was the best thing in the world. And then this day 9 years ago, it was like, well, I'm down here from Townsville on leave. You got to get the baby out now, and it better be on Remembrance Day because I've lost some good friends, and I'm born on Anzac Day. So do your justice, and you bit for the country and drag that little critter who's got shit navigation like a father.
Well, she did a good job.
She got lost, nearly came out the butt.
Oh, come on now. Good heavens.
Well, she'd been induced this time 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, at about 7 o'clock in the morning, again, it was as hot as a wok here. You know, as hot as a Turkish rower in a galleon in the Mediterranean in summer while eating spicy food.
Pretty hot.
Mixed with prunes. And on a hard wooden seat with rivets and a thick handle.
Kynan's right there. You have 3 and you become a bouncer. Look, I'm like Judge Judy. I had 6. Most of my time was spent adjudicating and trying to stop royal rumbles.
In the red corner.
Yeah.
What happens if your kids catch you putting money on one of the others over the other?
We never bet on them. What? Little fight club, that wouldn't happen.
Well, yeah, so I'm just going to give the little blighter a quick call now, see if she'll answer.
You do that.
But so she's about to be born 9 years ago, and for nearly 24 hours she stayed in mum until I couldn't have her born on Remembrance Day, and then the doc came in and said, "Yep, cesarean.
This line is busy. Please leave your message after the tone.
I told you, she's still trying to get out. And then when she came out, I did not realise just how much work there was. Put it under my shirt like I'd stolen something from Kmart. Go and bond with your kid. And then the next day I was back on a plane back to Townsville. It was the most upsetting thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Golden Rivet.
But you were there for it.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yep.
Oh, look, there's SOS with a jaundice cat.
SOS is always floating the boat, isn't he?
He's very good at it.
Yeah, he is good at it. We've got something coming to you. Wait a sec, mate. Hey, Cass and team, I hope you're all well. Reserve training shortly. Got to run. He's doing PT. Have a good...
night. Forgot.
Yeah, have a good day tomorrow, lest we forget. Oh, and for MB in chat, I'm north of Perth, but currently at Leewin RC. I'm not sure what it says. RC? This one's for you, hey, SOS. Get me a few recruits from your base at your depot so that I can do a special stream for you one day. It's a Kraken! Feed him a mother-in-law. That should make him happy.
Welcome, Calamari.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much for just being you. And
Yeah, exactly.
I really hope that tonight that all of the emphasis is on Remembrance Day of those that have fallen, and chances are your reserve depot is named after, okay, a unit that was of significant historical importance and has a wall of honour of its own there. Yep. Maybe research some of the fallen off the board.
Or, I suppose.
Yep. That's